You?
Sure, please begin with the welcomes.
Well, thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be here on this wonderful fall day. I'm in the Shenandoah Valley, and it has been exceptional this year, just exceptional. Here we are, November 9th, and we still have just a few yellows and reds of leaves on the trees. Storms are coming, so changes at our fingertips. I'd also like to welcome Mariana and thank you for all the work that you do and making sure that we're where we need to be, when we need to be, and God knows we need that kind of help. And of course, Scott, it's always a pleasure to work with you on behalf of ALC Bridge and its services and its the work that we do and the huge ask that we're going to be having of you today. Our colleague Richard Antoine has also worked with us very closely on the internship program for ALC Bridge, and he said he just simply overbooked himself, surprise. So he'll be joining us when he joins us, but Scott and I are quite able to lead you through this process. So no worries, no worries. Oh, I see that Carrie Fisher is joining us. I had the pleasure of being on the TBO forum with her on Tuesday. So welcome, Carrie. You're there, you're present. And you've got this great red shirt on. So we are honored to have you here. I should, if you don't mind, if you'll just say a word or two, because many of our ALC members may not know you. And if you'll just tell us a little bit about yourself while we're waiting to get started.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Fisher. I am the Globalization Services Manager at Subway. Fancy way of saying I'm in charge of getting all of our content translated into all the languages that we support, which are as many. We're the largest fast food chain in the world. We're in 100 countries, so you can imagine the volume. My nonprofit work is through Women in Localization. I'm the 2023 president. And this is how I got hooked into ALC to begin with. You and I are partners in Women in Localization and ALC. Winnie Hay told me about ALC Bridge. I'm super interested to learn more, and that's why I'm here. I'm going to be a fly on the wall today to just observe and learn. And I'm going to be on the 2024 board. It's a brand new board. It's the nonprofit arm of ACTFL, which is the American Council of Teachings of Foreign Languages. And so the Language Connects Foundation, LCF, is starting up, and we're the nonprofit, like I said, arm of ACTFL, and we're really into supporting teachers of foreign languages. You know, in the United States, language enrollment has decreased steadily over time, and so we want to change that. And I'm looking to bridge academia and the localization industry, just like you are. That's your, purview as well. And so I just want to understand more about it and learn how to partner and all that good stuff.
Thank you so much, Carrie. I think we'll be getting started here in a minute, but I am going to ask Allison to do her business. She is our Executive Director Extraordinaire.
Thank you, Kathleen. Yes, I just wanted to welcome everyone to this webinar from ALC Bridge. And as part of this, ALC would like to just thank our annual sponsors, who include Language Line Solutions, Boost Lingo, Certified Languages International, TBO, and then as well as our gold sponsor, Bilingual, and our bronze sponsors. Just so you're aware, anytime that the ALC members gather in any kind of force and number, we do want to make sure that you're aware that there is an antitrust policy statement. If you have any concerns or questions about this, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Mariana, and we're happy to do this, but this is what protects our ability to meet as an association. And then as well, we've got a couple other items, events coming up. If you wouldn't mind just jump into the ALC calendar, you're more than welcome to register for these, and we encourage you to attend them all. Those also include our upcoming annual events, which is the Unconference in 2024. That's going to be hosted in Cancun, Mexico, February 7th through 9th. ALC on the Hill, February 29th. This year it's a one-day virtual event. And then as well, the annual summit in Montreal, September 11th through 13th. Kathleen, I'll turn the stage over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Allison. Now, we did rehearse this very carefully. So do I go first with some pictures, or does Scott just take over? Refresh my memory, Allison.
I think Scott's the one that's going to take it over from here.
Yay. I'm so happy to hear that. And I'll do that in just 2 seconds, Scott. But first, let me just set up a little bit of background in case there's somebody on this call that doesn't know about what we're about. ALC Bridge, of course, is the partnership between the employers, that's us, and the educators, that's our academic partners. And we have been very successful, especially this fall, with our connections with amazing academic partners who have asked us not only to come on with the full show exploring careers in a language industry, but also to drill down. So we have sent them from our ALC Bridge Speakers Corps, speakers speaking specifically about medical interpreting, about being a freelancer, about being totally interested in localization, about willing to perhaps talk about AI, but not too much. So it's been an amazing fall. And these partners are, you've seen them before in some of my logos and presentations, but it's so exciting. So what we are learning from our academic partners is they're not only interested in jobs, but they really are also interested in internships. They see that internships give their students a chance to really explore an industry that may or may not be fully understood by them, especially the non-linguist positions. Those who are training to be translators or interpreters, they pretty much know they got to have some real strong language skills, proficiency, and ability to work from one language to the other. It's those that have perhaps more technical skills, more sales, marketing, business side skills, and we're trying to help them see that our industry has plenty of those as well. Yesterday, we presented to Carnegie Mellon, and one of our speakers was from Language Line, and she just said, well, we just got thousands of jobs, just thousands. And I'm the talent manager, acquisition manager. So, just know we've got jobs. With that said, we learned that this internship is a piece that may or may not be a bit of a challenge for our companies. Not all of our companies are Language Line. Most of our companies are small. And so what we want to do, what we have done with Scott's great leadership and the help of his son, we have created an internship in the box, which is a tool that you, language company, can go to and explore how to set up, how to do things, and to take a chance at having an internship even in your small institution. So we've got that, but it's been time now. And Scott and I go out and we talk and we say, internships, give it a shot, give it a try. And we're just not seeing the enthusiasm that we expect from our ALC company members. So here we are, November the 9th, back on the screen. Thank you all for attending. And we're going to do our dog and pony show once again. Internships, there for you. Scott, you got it.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Kathleen. Yeah, this is our annual pep rally, I would say, for internships. I had the audacity to actually open my mouth at the annual conference in 2021 in Chicago, and I asked a question about who's doing internships, and then up jumps Kathleen, and from there is the marriage made in heaven. We both have great value and see this as a great opportunity, not only for the academic partners, but also for our member companies to really participate in internships. So I'm going to outline briefly today what ALC Bridge is from the website side of things, just to give you a sense of what that tool looks like. and then talk a bit about the benefits of internships. This is a pretty
La
self-selected group,
querida, tienes
though.
que hablar con él directamente, pero creo que sí.
Could you please mute on your end?
Yeah.
And I think I'm preaching to the choir about internships, but maybe there are a few things in here you haven't thought of. So the Bridge website, alcbridge.org, is part of the ALC Bridge job platform. It's not just about internships. It's a career platform that the ALC has set up and hosts through the ALC Bridge committee, who manages it. So it's a whole separate web property, and you can post jobs here for free, which in today's world, free is a nice word. We can't do many things for free in business anymore. But you can do free listings and also paid listings to boost searchability and findability of those listings on ALC Bridge. But specifically on partnerships or internships, I mean, if you go to the internships page under resources, you'll see that we've really set it up to direct students directly to how they can easily find offered internships. So you click on resources and you go to for students on the internships page. And if you simply click on the button find an internship, any posted internships will immediately appear. And this is kind of the ask we're really making today in terms of more immediate action, is to get your listings up there. Currently, we have few, and we need a lot more because there's a lot of academic interest, as Kathleen can tell you. So just a quick snapshot of the experience that those seeking internships will have when they go to Bridge. This is what a generic listing looks like. You have a lot of control over how you structure your listing and how you describe it. And for the students, it's a pretty easy application process. They can either choose to send an email directly to you, or they can create a job board account and apply for that internship online. There's no cost to them for either option. And we always encourage them to have a well-prepared resume and cover email ready to go, so it's easy for you to be on the receiving end and know why this individual is reaching out to you. So why take advantage of ALC Bridge? Basically, you can avoid a lot of additional cost by posting on Bridge as compared to having to do it using Indeed or other job sites. Our companies range from small to large LLCs, so because of that, we want to be able to offer a more cost-effective option. We're really working with ALCs more and more to help them mature their internship programs. This webinar is a good example. And we want to make sure that your listings on Bridge are more comprehensive, more specific to a broader range of job types, as Kathleen mentioned. It doesn't have to just be internships for traditional language service jobs. You can think more broadly as to marketing internships, sales internships, and the like. And the goal also is to make sure that we raise the bar on our end to guarantee higher quality internships for students, and also better align internships with student goals. So making sure that interns have more options and can participate in internships that really align with their educational goals.
Can I ask a question?
Please do.
Are the webinars free for the students?
That'd be a good answer for Kathleen. A good question for Kathleen.
But by webinars, you mean for the academic partners?
Well, if you go back one slide, there was on the last bullet, ALC educational webinars those are free?
Yes, yes. That's just
Great.
a general statement that so far, Carrie, so far, these incredible ALC Bridge speakers core people are willing to work for nothing. Just the glory of it, right? So far. Thank you for the question.
So really, to get to the meat of today's webinar is, why offer an internship? They provide benefits to not just your company, but also to students. And more importantly, it plants a flag for the language services industry. If we're not able to accommodate more internships and attract more young students to participate, we're missing opportunity as an industry to attract more talent for future employment. So it's really important for your company. The benefits there are that they can, you can tackle internal projects that might be languishing. Everyone always has a to-do list, especially in company ownership and management, a long to-do list with plenty of tasks that go unfinished, many of them aspirational, but still, perceived value to the company. And they don't go anywhere because there's no one to drive them forward. An intern can very often, especially when it comes to research in a specialized area, for example, an intern can maybe drive and at least maintain the focus over the course of an internship so that goals can be achieved. One other more less obvious benefit is that doing internships on a regular basis keeps the human resource side of your business sharp. You have to onboard someone quickly, orient them to your business and your policies and your practices quickly. Smaller LLCs aren't hiring terribly frequently, as let's say compared to larger companies. So we can get a little rusty when it comes to onboarding individuals. And if every summer or every May you're having to onboard an intern, this keeps you sharp and flexes those muscles when it comes down to onboarding and hiring new people. Also think about try before you buy. If you are hoping that an internship can be a bridge to a full-time employee being added to your company, this is your opportunity to actually work with a specific individual who you get to know, and we'll have the opportunity to invite them back or not at the end of the internship or after they graduate. And last but not least, altruistically, it's nice for the industry to give back. I think our partnerships with academic institutions are really important as a channel for internships, but also as for future employees. So the more we can foster those relationships and help the academic institutions achieve their goals and students achieve their academic goals, that's a great thing. For the students, obviously, a lot of benefits. They get a professional experience in a field that few know about at all, in terms of language services industry. We can help them achieve their academic requirements because more and more internships are going to be credit based. So interns want to get the credit for those internships. And then the all-important work experience, just working in a corporate environment, getting to know what it's like to work inside a company, and what's, just the basics of learning what's expected of them and performing to a prescribed standard is super important for the students. And as I mentioned, for the language industry, attracting talent to our industry, garnering our fair share of talent, and maintaining that strong relationship with academia. Those are all important reasons to participate in an internship. So how can you be successful? I came to this and I raised the question because my company, when I owned my own company, we had over, I think, I owned the company for over 22 years, and 15 of those years we had active internship programs. At least one every summer was our goal. And we were small companies, and it wasn't like we had deep resources for this. But I would say out of those 15 years, 10 led to new hires, based on the performance of the intern. So I believe in it very strongly. It was easy because I was the owner and I made it happen. You may have to do the same. And yes, it may require you convincing some of your senior management or some of your team to embrace this. Many view it as a hassle, an extra task they don't want to deal with. And it's important that you have, if you yourself are not in a position to supervise the intern, you're going to need someone in-house who's going to. So you have to be willing to dedicate an individual to plan and supervise the internship. That's the skin in the game for you, in addition to compensation. If you choose to compensate the intern, that's something else we can talk about. So it's important to involve your team in supporting the decision to have an intern. Also identifying opportunities for interns within your company. What kinds of projects, efforts, initiatives would be appropriate for an intern to participate in? Develop an inventory of tasks for interns. We kept a very simple Excel file where our translation operations team could add any kind of project that they thought might be useful to have done by an intern, or where they wanted extra support. And we would keep that inventory running, and we always had a to-do list for an incoming intern. That was really helpful. And as I mentioned before, you have to be able to designate a supervisor. It's also helpful to have someone who's, if the supervisor is not going to be the mentor, someone else who will mentor. And also, make sure people know who's benefiting from it internally as well. As Kathleen mentioned, we put together what we call an internship in a box. It's really just a set of documents to help get the ball rolling, a few guidelines and things. And the idea is just to remove any barriers to you getting started. And lastly, to be successful, definitely post your internship to the ALC Bridge job board. And that way we can, keep promoting that to the academic side, so that when they show up on the job board, there are some good things to see. Lastly, some considerations that you should keep in mind when planning this. At a high level, you really want to know, you want to have a good idea of what you want an intern to learn, what you want them to be able to take away from that internship. Again, who will manage that whole process? That's super important. This is not one of those things you can just throw over the wall and it's not going to stick. It's not going to work. Someone's got to pay attention and foster this and put some effort in. I mentioned, will you provide compensation? There's a lot of debate on this as to whether or not you must. I prefer not to say must. State by state, there might be regulations that lead you to the more conservative choice, let's say, of compensating. I would say, in the end, the way, in general, across states, the way it's perceived is, if the value that the intern is getting from the company is sufficient to justify, to satisfy educational requirements, then that is an argument against having to compensate. All right. In my company's case, we saw the value was very high, but we still thought it fair to offer a stipend. So we did it more as an overall stipend we would give the student, and they were, it was basically almost offered as, I think traditionally we did as a lump sum, and that was to cover, moving and housing costs. And because all of our internships are on site. And on that point, decide up front what will benefit your company most, what will benefit students most, an on-site or remote internship. That's an important distinction. Back in the day, remote was not even possible. But also keep in mind that if you're going to go remote, that your day-to-day supervision is going to have to go up. On-site, it doesn't have to be quite as rigorous. Maybe a weekly check-in, or because so much supervision can be done on the fly and questions can be easily asked through just meeting over the water cooler type of thing. But in remote, you're going to have to really provide strong supervision if you want to see a good outcome. And if you do choose to on-site, I think it's really important to provide guidance and even some sources for good, safe, convenient, and affordable housing while the intern is visiting. All of our interns are from out of state, so we took that very seriously. And in urban areas, you don't want people making poor choices as to what neighborhoods to live in and where might be the safest and most cost effective. So usually you can be the best guide to that, or your staff. I relied on my staff. I had a young staff who all rented in the area, and they knew that neighborhoods better than I. So I asked them for guidance. So that's really it in a nutshell. The goal here is to, quite honestly, get people off the fence. Back in 2021, Kathleen and I were really encouraged by the response. I would say, Kathleen, I mean, we didn't take a formal poll, but 2/3 of the people and this was in a big open forum where this came up, and I would say 2/3 of the people there were gung-ho for this. And I would say, I think the idea of it is very attractive, but when the rubber meets the road, people realize there's effort that has to be expended, and sometimes that can be the barrier.
You couldn't have said it better, Scott. Thank you so much. You can stop sharing screen now, if you will.
Okay.
I am certainly expecting, even though we have a modest turnout, I'm expecting questions. We're here to help you bring down whatever this barrier is that's preventing you from using a tool that has been created for you as an ALC member. Will be helpful to us, because goodness knows we're not going to keep banging our head against the wall. Our heads are already a little crooked. So let's hear some questions. Emily.
Yes, I just put something in chat. Is it better for me to?
Oh, feel free to just speak up.
Okay, gotcha. So I am wondering, I love the idea of partnering with academic institutions to provide that credit for students. And I am thwarted about how to go about that, like who to approach, what that looks like. I would love any and all advice on that end.
Kathleen, I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on this, but if I could chime in real quick.
Yes, please.
This is, believe it or not, we had a really strong academic partner that my company worked with, and I found out actually quite late in the process that they did not have an accredited internship in their course catalog. And for an outside group to drive this, I think it might be important in order to underscore the value and raise the bar for the value for the student. But academic institutions are going to have to make this decision themselves. I'm always amazed at, like, getting a change in the course catalog is like moving heaven and earth, it seems. And I don't mean to disparage educational institutions, but it is, the reality is it's a big deal. So, it's really going to be up to the institution. I think it's good to make the argument and to tell them that it's going to benefit the students more to be able to get credit, and it's going to be taken much more seriously. The thing I found is that from institution to institution, you're going to find a wide range of requirements or the lack thereof, or structure, we should say, even around the internship. It might be, it's encouraged, they're required to write a paper at the end, and that's as far as it goes. Others might be, it's a full, 2 or 4 credit opportunity. It's going to require formal documentation from the company in terms of evaluating and reporting on the intern's performance. And so it can run the gamut, and there could be a formal agreement or not. So it really just depends on who the academic partner is. I wouldn't shy away from the less structured opportunity. Sometimes it could make it much easier when it's less formal, but I still think from the LSC side, you should take it very seriously, because you just don't want people showing up and having a an underwhelming experience that doesn't provide much value.
Thank you, Scott. I see a couple of hands up, but before I call on you, Carla and Steve, Emily, what is Mosaic? I'm not familiar with your organization.
We're sign language interpreting.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. And we are also in Virginia. Hi. We're in Richmond.
Super. That's so good. Thank you so much for your question. I don't know who was up first, Carla or Steve, but let's go ladies first. Carla, what you got?
Well, there you go. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I'm so glad I have time these days to come listen to you guys. So I have to tell you guys that I think that that's probably the thing that's most in your way, is that people haven't realized the advantages, and so they don't dedicate the time to this. We had an internship program, and there are places that you can actually source interns in Europe that come and stay for like 9 months. And then most of my employees were those interns. So I would say we had a very successful program, and we had interns probably 35 out of 40 years that I was in business. So if you guys need a reference or something, I'm more than happy to contribute to the benefits and why doing it. But my interns, they were very involved in the work. They were project management interns. And they were like an assistant project manager when they came in, and we had a pretty structured track for them to do. And I think that we had a pretty successful program. I would say sometimes we had 2 or 3 interns at the same time. Sometimes they were just for the summer. We had a minimum of 3 months, because otherwise it's not worth it for you. But once you put together that pipeline that you were saying, Scott, then there's no shortage of things for them to do, from website updates to blogging to finding leads to organizing vendors to screening resumes. Of course, AI can do some of that stuff now, but I can't say enough of the kinds of things that they want to do. And I just have a quick question besides an endorsement that I just gave you. Is that I heard that there's a revolution in the world of labor law regarding internships and how much you pay internships or not. By way of just full disclosure, because I no longer have an investment on it, we were paying between $1,500 and $2,100 a month, something like that. Because it was a lot of years. So I think at the end we were paying like maybe even $2,500, but not a lot more than that, because the students are getting a lot of benefit. But I heard that now the labor law people are encouraging you to actually provide like a learning curriculum for them and ensure that they pass the curriculum. And so can you talk a little bit about how that's changing things?
What I'd like to say, Carla, is thank you very much for the recommendation. We appreciate that. The question you've asked is kind of a big question, and I'd like to take a couple of other questions before we try to get into any details to the new labor laws. So if you don't mind holding off a second. Let's see
No
what
problem, absolutely.
what Steve's question is, and then we have a question from Dolly as well. Hey, Steve.
Hey, how you doing? Mine is really more just a comment. Obviously, I'm a member of Bridge, so I'm fully supportive of everything that you are doing and that we are doing. But in terms of the question about paying or not paying the internships and how, you know, whether it carries credit or not, to Scott's point, getting a credit, you know, a credit bearing internship in the works is super hard. And we work with, we're based in Denver, and we work with an institution in our community, Metro State, and they were so relieved to work with us. And she even told me up front, she's like, getting a credit-based thing is really hard to get through, but if we can start doing something sort of more, so like taking the burden off of them and just you know, presenting it to the idea to them and starting to take interns, and we pay them based on you know, we pay them the rate that's the same rate that's they're paid on for on-campus work, basically. But then building that pipeline of people that are interested in it, we're in our third session of internships. We started this spring of this, and we're into our third one now. And it's starting to get some traction in the department. It's just a certificate program, so it's not a degree program. So that makes it even more, a little bit more complex. But because they're starting to get attention from the students and stuff, then the dean that I'm working with is able to, well, ultimately, she's hoping to be able to go back and start to build something else. But for the moment, starting out that way is easier for them, and they're able to show. So it's not, I mean, it's obviously we want to get, we want it needs to be valuable to the student. Obviously it needs to have some value for us, because we have to make sure that the project managers, like, you know, everybody's busy and nobody wants to spend extra time that they don't have to spend. But it's equally important for the administrators or the people who are heading these departments, because they want to make a case for having something that's more formalized, but they can't do that without sort of the data to show that they've got people that are interested, and they've got organizations in the community that are willing to work towards it. And with regard to the question of, you know, investing in an internship, and does it make sense? You spend so little time with people, and they take up a lot of resources, and then they're gone, and you lose that training. You know, small organizations, we don't have the resources to sort of to do that regularly if we're putting out a lot of effort and not really getting a lot back, other than the warm fuzzies for helping to train people up, which I think is important as well. But I think by working with with an institution that's in your community, where those people are likely to stay in the community, you might have more of an option. So Metro State used to be a community college, and then it sort of got its 4-year accreditation. So it's a sort of a growing institution, but it's still very much a community-based institution. And the folks that are going there are very, very focused on their career and getting a job, right? So they're people that are going to stay in the community. So we're on our 4th internship now. You know, we're looking to hire in January. We'll probably hire 1 or 2 of them from the program. So I think if you're sort of like worried about where your interns and things are coming from, I mean, if you've got an opportunity to approach, even if you have a community college that has an interpreting certificate program or something, that's a great place to start. And those people are in your community anyway, and they're likely to stay. So the benefit to the LSC is even higher, because it's a potential source of you know, job people to fill positions. So that's it. That's me.
That's
great.
fantastic. That is just great. And before I come to you, Dolly, I'll just comment on my own experience. My company in the beginning was a small company. It became a large company or a mid-sized company, but it was small in the